Buenos dias sa inyo lahat! Welcome sa Museum ni Padre Bongol. The museum was created by BSMA 1D Group 4. So let's start our journey as we go back from the past.
The Maria Clara dress. It is introduced in 1890 and has grown immensely popular during the Spanish era. It is a combination of indigenous and Spanish influences. It is inspired by the famed Maria Clara, the protagonist of Dr. Jose Rizal's at the time just released book, No Le Metang Here. Maria Clara is still viewed as a representation of the qualities and grandeur of Filipina women. Its forerunner was the barot saya worn by the first Filipinos, which consisted of a loose long-sleeve top layered over a broad, ankle-length skirt. The baro, also known as the camisa, the saya, the panuelo, and the tapis, are the four different components that make up the Maria Clara dress. Piña. A textile fiber is a traditional Philippine fiber made from the leaves of the pineapple plant. Pineapples are indigenous to South America but have been widely cultivated in the Philippines since 17th century and used for weaving lustrous, lace-like luxury textiles known as Nipis fabric. The name is derived from Spanish piña, meaning pineapple. It was considered a worthy gift to give to royalty. Tambourine necklace. It is a Filipino traditional ornament and was introduced around the mid-18th century. It is made of silver and gold. It was patterned after the rosary. Early versions of this necklace followed the rosary bead pattern, but the early 19th century, it became very ornamental and different styles and patterns came out. The converted Filipinos wearing this jewelry was not only a declaration of their Christian faith but also a way to adorn themselves while still following the austerity restrictions dictated by the Spanish regime. The abanico is a Filipino hand fan made of local trees and materials like lace or pineapple silk. It symbolizes rich customs. Jose Rizal defined it as a simple object always held by the demure virginal heroine. And it is also a woman's secret code as a form of body language to express herself and send messages to suitors. It is often worn with Filipiniana dresses and it is embellished with brass and silk tassels.
Even before colonizers came to the Philippines, Filipino tribes have been using elaborate beadwork in their accessories and clothes. Beads range from the handmade resins to cut seeds and animal bones. But more than just ornaments, these beads have been woven into patterns with deep spiritual meanings. At the fair, Natalia Lagdamio will present tambourine beads with black crystal and coin fur. Unang panahons, collections include assorted 10th century Agusan gold beads and elliptical crows. Sections bangle with a rib-like hammer, work on the outside and with a herringbone pattern, engraved on the flanks with snake bones. Besides, ivory, diamante, pearls, and corals were also popular in the Philippines jewelry. Maria Angelica Rare finds puts together all silver frames, corals, and brass in costume pieces to grace the neck of the wearer. An antique cameo framed in gold filigree serves as pendant.
Lumbang River, Laguna, Copper Plate Inscription or LCI. The Laguna Copper Plate Inscription or LCI is a prehistoric artifact measuring 7 by 12 inches that contains enigmatic written text. It was discovered in Laguna at the mouth of the Lumbang River. The wording on the copper plate is actually a receipt for payment of a debt, and it is currently recognized as the country's oldest historical document.
Even before colonizers came to the Philippines, Filipino tribes have been using elaborate beadwork in their accessories and clothes. Beads range from the handmade resins to cut seeds and animal bones. But more than just ornaments, These beads have been woven into patterns with deep spiritual meanings. At the Fair Natalia Lagdamyo will present tambourine beads with black crystal and coin fur. Unang panahons, collections include assorted 10th century Agusan gold beads and elliptical crows. Sections bangle with a rib-like hammer, work on the outside and with a herringbone pattern, engraved on the flanks with snake bones.
The Manonggol jar is a secondary burial jar excavated from the Manonggol cave of the Tabon Caves at Lipon Point in Palawan, Philippines. It is widely acknowledged to be one of the finest Philippine pre-colonial artworks ever produced and is considered a masterpiece of Philippine ceramics. It is listed as a national treasure and designated as item 64MO74 by National Museum of the Philippines and is now housed at the National Museum of Anthropology. It was found by Robert B. Fox and Miguel Antonio in 1964 in Chamber A of Manonggol Cave in southwestern Palawan. Yawning Jarlet of Letaleta Cave, northern Palawan, a little antique jar with a rim that resembles the open wide mouth of a shouting or yawning person, was discovered at the Letaleta Cave in northern Palawan. As a result, archaeologists give the jarlet the name yawning jar. Furthermore, they came to the conclusion that this jarlet is roughly dated to the late Neolithic period between 1000 and 1500 BC.
Bululs or bulols are stylized representations of Ifugao and Kalanguya ancestors. The Ifugao tribesmen of northern Luzon are noted for carving the wooden figures believed to guard rice crops in the Cordilleras. Among galleries used offering for the non-such fair is an important granary guardian or bulol from Hapao region, made of wood with ritual incrustations from the early 20th century. According to the gallery, it is an outstanding example of the Ifugao bulol, and the Ifugao sculptor's tendencies towards abstractions and representations. One leg of the figure becomes an arm when viewed from the right side.
The Angona petroglyphs are the oldest known artworks in the Philippines. Dating to the 3rd millennium BC, they were declared a National Cultural Treasure in 1973 and listed on the World Inventory of Rock Art in 1985. After inclusion on the 1996 World Monuments Watch, the caves were cleared of invasive vegetation and the National Museum of the Philippines was secured in 1998. Archaeological excavations have yielded fragments of earthenware and obsidian flakes, suggesting the cave may have first been used sometime during the Neolithic period.
Here we go to the Una Buddha. Una Buddha was captured by the first Filipino photographer or photojournalist named Felix Laureano. It is one of the interesting photographs that shows the couple in a kalesa followed by a music band. The short story on the wedding picture tells about the wedding practices in the villages. After a successful negotiation, a wedding date is set and the groom's party commits to pay for the wedding fees. The photo shows the execution of Jose Rizal. So this is called Fusilamiento de Jose Rizal, dated December 30, 1896 and was photographed by Manuel Arias Rodriguez, a Spanish Creole. Since Jose Rizal was the inspiration to many people because he writes several books that made us push to fight for our freedom, he became a national hero of the country. It is important to us to know how he was killed by the Spanish during that time. So it was good for Manuel Arias Rodriguez, who was able to capture a photograph of the scene. The photograph shows an 1899 Filipino military officer that was photographed by Pilinda Randa. So Pilinda Randa is one of the Thomasites who took pictures of early 20th century in the Philippines. She's an English language teacher in the Philippines. Rand took photographs that show many aspects of Filipino life in Silay and Lingayen, where she resided. Her pictures included people, students, missionaries, buildings, animals, and sceneries from 1901 to 1907. Indigena de Ceriaca, one of the oldest portrait photographs recorded in Filipino history dating back to 1875. Francisco Van Camp captured a mestiza Sangley Filipina. When we say mestiza, it means having a mixed race. So in the picture, the woman has both Spanish and Filipino ethnicity that symbolizes one of the main functions of photography in that settings, that was used to document the Spanish influence on the Filipino population.
Gaspar Miguel de Berrio, Our Lady of Mount Carmel and Bishop Saints, 1764 oil on canvas. Spanish colonial art, long dismissed as derivative or politically incorrect, is receiving a major appraisal in Latin America and drawing new attention in the US. As a school child in Mexico more than 50 years ago, I was taught that the Spanish colonial era was a cultural wasteland. 3 repressive centuries sandwiched between the 1521 conquest of a glorious pre-Columbian civilization and the heroic struggle leading to independence in 1821. Colonial art was dismissed as religious propaganda and a mediocre derivative of European painting and sculpture. Bayanihan by Carlos Botong Francisco. Botong Francisco's artwork is based on a common tradition of Filipinos, where people gather and help a family when they move location. It is beautiful and universal, as it shows the concept of supporting and helping even if one is not Filipino. Aesthetics with a touch of simplicity is one of the factors considered by Francisco in this artwork, which is both beautiful and universal. Tampuhan by Juan Luna. Tampuhan, meaning sulking, is an 1895 classic oil-on-canvas impressionist painting by Filipino painter and hero Juan Luna. It depicts a Filipino man and the Filipino woman having a lover's quarrel.
Tirad Pass by Ramon Peralta. Peralta's painting depicts the Battle of Tirad Pass on December 2, 1899, where 60 Filipino soldiers under General Gregorio del Pilar fought against 300 American soldiers to enable President Emilio Aguinaldo to flee. Despite being outmanned, Del Pilar and his troops fought, exclaiming, "This is the most glorious moment in our lives." Unfortunately, the young and brave general perished on the battle. Salve Regina was the icon of the golden age of church music in the country and the top representative of church-trained musicians of the Spanish colonial period. The research team searched for references to Marcelo Adonai, his life and his work, in libraries and archives all over Manila. They found 57 known compositions by the maestro, including a Salve Marina copied by Antonio Molina, and the score and parts of the Poquaya Misa Solemne used in the 1999 San Agustin performance. and this is the Maya. In Philippines, we call the brown sparrow Maya. This beautiful song is about how the Maya can fly so quickly, which makes it so hard to catch. It composed in 1905. It was a piece from Estela Zarzuela, Filipinos para los Filipinos, with Severino Reyes as librettist. The piece represented the everyday life of the common people in the Philippines, thus predating some works by other composers who graduated from UP Conservatory of Music in the 1920s. Severino's youngest son, Pedrito, said that the song was inspired by the Maya chirping in the trees near his father's summer hut. And this one was originally written as a poem by Jose Corazon de Jesus in 1929 and set to music by Constancio de Guzman. Written as a protest song during the American occupation of the Philippines. It is often sung in protest rallies and demonstrations throughout Philippines history. Tierra Adorada in 1825. It was written. Schubert's melody has since been adapted for use with the customary Roman Catholic prayer of the same name, which is written in Latin. This is most likely because of the song's opening lyrics. Despite being a prayer, Schubert's Ave Maria was written with the Catholic Church or religious customs in mind.
And now, here we are in the historiography theory section. So, how might these items have been viewed at the time? At the time, they could be seen as just an ordinary thing, and a small amount of money will be required to own one, depending on its use. So, yung artifacts na meron tayo ngayon is dating mga simpleng bagay lang na ginagamit for their own purposes. People nowadays treat this as an expensive one because it's a rare thing. And bihira na lang ang magkaroon ng itong mga kagamitan na still nag-exist today. The tools of ancient times had a purpose, that's why they were made then. Also, people look at it as art. Just like songs, objects, photos, photographs, paintings, they capture the history that proves the real scenario of the past. Everything you can see in our virtual museum. How should they be viewed today? What is their modern value? Nowadays, they are very important nga sabi ko kanina because they were used or made by our ancestors in their time and it costs a lot of money for you to have them. It is of great value to us because it is the treasure of our country and it needs to be well taken care of so that it is not damaged because it is part of our country's history. It tells what happened, it shows the past. It is important for us to know kasi yun yung naging simula kung nasan tayo ngayon. How do your artifacts relate to critical race theory? These artifacts cannot be taken lightly. According to the law, it is illegal to explore, excavate archaeological or historical sites for the purpose of obtaining materials of historical or cultural value without prior written authority from the director of the National Museum. In order for the government to protect these artifacts, they need to organize cultural awareness programs, promote a curriculum that includes cultural awareness, protect and preserve cultural sites, literature, languages, and heritage.